All right, guys, welcome. So I got to do a legal note. So we have that on place. And that is that this video is not a form of bullying, harassment, slander, or character assassination. It is a true story. And where there's inserted allegedly is there's third party information, not information that I know myself directly, but information that's been shared with me. Enjoy. What's up, guys? So listen, I want to have a conversation. So several years ago, I made a video. The video was in response to some real, in my opinion, real foul and slanderous and salacious remarks that were leveraged about my mom's name and her character when she was married to her husband. They were married for 31 years. And at that time, he passed. And after his passing, his daughter, who is going to be pictured to the left of my right, decided to go on a smear campaign. And she started talking about how my mom never worked, she was lazy, her dad did everything. And so just kind of smearing my mom's name. But what she didn't know was that she was smearing my mom's name to her own relatives. The word or message got back to one of my cousins, who then called several other people, who then got to one of my cousins who was adamantly angry with my stepsister. She would want to put hands on her. When I say wanted to put hands on her, I was like, nah, it's not worth it. So through the process of grieving, my mom had to deal with the phone calls of negativity. People was calling, telling my mom what she had said, telling my mom that she said that she, now that her dad's died, she don't want nothing to do with us. All kind of stuff as if we had something to do with her dad's demise. Out of that video, I gave accolades to two people. That was Veronica Johnson and Frederick Jones, because I had a relationship with Nisi and Fred. I understood clearly as to why my brother couldn't be here, because he lived far away. I understood clearly why Nisi couldn't be here, because she lived far away. But for Terrell and for Nicole, even though she's not his blood daughter, she was raised with his last name, but she was fathered by another man. Her picture will be to the left and right. Out of that video, I outlined a number of things that took place in my 10 years of being back home. Now, my 10 years being back here, I was only supposed to be here for like 3 months, y'all. 3 months. Then I was going to New York. I can go back to my chat thread and show y'all where I was supposed to be going to New York, training somebody with one of our companies that I was working with. And I was leaving. I had started working on my documents for dual citizenship to another country. And I was going to be in New York for at least a month and a half. And then I was leaving. That didn't go over so well. Got here, got settled in for a little bit. And my mom's sister was starting rehab again, where she had fell and broke her knee. And, now she healed up. She was able to now gain her ability to start back walking. Cool. So my mom was getting up every morning. My stepdad would take my mom around there, and then he would take the car and he would go to McDonald's and get something to eat, some breakfast. My mom would get my stepmom ready. My mom would get my aunt ready and help her get dressed for therapy. Until they started taking a toll on my mom's body, then I got volunteered to do it. So I did that for my aunt for several years. And I became the running primary caregiver for everybody. Because my mom got sick, then my aunt got sick, and my cousin got sick. And everybody, they was just bouncing back and forth. And my great uncle at the time, his health started declining. We had to deal with the issue with him being placed somewhere by his power of attorney. And she didn't tell the family where she placed him at. So I had to call abuse to report her for that. Now, my stepdad's health started declining. And when his health started declining, I was kind of there, calling, telling my mom to call, tell, about this going on, that going on. Then not only that, keeping a diary, kind of keeping a memorial memory, recording diary in my mind of these things, recording things in audio. Not only recording things in audio, just the fact of noticing his health start declining, changing. So it was we were coming out of May, last May 31st. And about 3:45 in the morning, a tree fell on our home. Destroyed our whole mobile home, right? So we ended up having to, my stepdad and my mom went and stayed with some of our cousins. I went and stayed, me and the dog stayed one night at one of our cousins. And then the next, I went to, and I paid for a hotel room. I had money to pay for my room, wasn't broke at all, had my own money. So in the process of that, tree fell in the house, called Red Cross for my mom, my stepdad, called it for myself. I called the insurance company, called the fire department. I'll send y'all will see pictures of the house up on the screen somewhere. But the house was totally destroyed, just wiped out. In a bat of an eye, it was just gone. In 31 years, my mom had been married and lived here, and everything just gone. And what was shocking and frustrating through this whole ordeal was, when I made my video, I told the truth. And I realized that sometimes the truth not only hurts, but it pisses people off. But people don't, oftentimes, I say this, a narcissistic group of people won't confess what they did wrong, but rather would want you to remove your video because it makes them look bad, but they don't want to tell the truth of what they did wrong. I get that. That's classic narcissism, and we know that is a mental disease. All right. So then the ordeal of losing the house, we were also looking for a house, and so Adam looked for a house, staying at a hotel. And I remember we were coming back from Lake City one day. It was pouring down rain in Lake City, Florida. And I told my stepdad, I was like, I'm mad with your daughter. I told him, I said, I'm angry with her. He was like, well, why are you mad with her? And I told him, I said, because she treats you no better than Nayron treats my mom. And he told me these words. He said, don't worry about it. I said, but I'm going to get her. And so I told him, I said, I'm going to get her because that's just not right. So he told me, he said, don't worry about it. He told me and my mom in the car that day, he said, don't worry about it at all. The Lord is going to make her pay for everything she's done to me. That kind of stuck out to me. So I said, okay. But what made me angry is that your dad's health is failing. He's 70-something years old. And here he is living in a hotel or living with my mom's family members. Staying with my mom's family members, being offered to come live with my mom's godmother, come stay down there with them. And here it is that you have your own house. And I'll show you the picture of him and her together. You have your own house, but you won't even you won't even offer your dad a room to lay his head down. You've got to be kidding me. So fast forward to one day they came to the hotel, and I guess they were offering benevolence, offering gifts, right? Like I said, we had money. We were not broke. We had our own money. We didn't need anybody's money. We didn't ask anybody for the money. They came to volunteer to pay for the rooms. Not getting into details about my room, because that's not up for discussion. But I want to say that they didn't pay. They, as in the girls, did not. That's Nikki and Terrell, did not pay for my room. I have my own money. I will say this: my brother told me, he's like, "I'm gonna give you your money back from when you pay for your room," and he did. So Nikki decides to get into a conversation, and she says, y'all need to get a smaller house, just going on and on about the ringer. And my mom was like, no, I'm not downsizing for you. And she was like, so Nikki proceeds to say, it's our hard-earned money. We work for that, paying for these rooms. Nobody asked y'all for a dime, girl. And if it's your hard-earned money paying for the rooms, why aren't you opening your doors for your dad or your stepdad to lay in one of your rooms in your house? My mom was fine. I had 10 stacks. I was good. And I was on my way to 20 stacks. I was fine. I just didn't have nothing to worry about. So, in the process of that, I don't know what happened at the hotel beyond that point, but I know when I was here at the house, my stepdad came and found me. I mean, got out the car, called my name, was like calling me like, Virgil, where you at? Virgil, where you at? I want to talk to you. I need to talk to you real quick. I'm like, what's going on? So I'm sitting here looking confused because I wasn't at the hotel. By the way, this is allegedly because I wasn't there. But I do know he said this to me. He said, the plans doesn't change. I said, sir? He said, the plans didn't change. I said, well, what do you mean? He said, the plans didn't change. I said, well, what happened? He said, my daughters. I was like, I'm confused. What happened? Didn't go into details. So later on, we went back to the hotel room. He came to my room, sat down in the chair in my room, and he told me, he said, the plans changed. And in my mind, I'm like, what plans? And he said, the plans changed. He said, we were going to move to the homestead, and I was going to lead them with that up there. He said, but because of what they did to me, the plans changed. Later, it will come out that that's why. So he began to press upon me to find a RV. And I did. I found an RV. He was telling my mom at the hotel, because once they joined me at the hotel, they actually ended up moving to the hotel with me, because I was at the hotel with me and my dog. But he was telling my mom, he told her, he said, I don't know how long I have with you. It was like, I don't know how long. He said, I'm going to leave you, but I don't know how long I have left. So my mom would walk off and she would cry. And she would come to my room and sit in the chair, be quiet and be crying. I was like, what is wrong with this lady? She depressed or something? And me and the dog looking at her like, are you good? Like, why you keep coming over here? Like, you come over here every day just knocking on this door, but what for? What for? Why? What reason? But I didn't know he was having a conversation with her about him leaving the earth. Finally, he told her, he was like, he wasn't coming back. He was, he was going to leave her. 4 months after us being back home in the RV, my cousin gave me COVID. She gave her mom COVID, her son COVID, and her stepdad COVID, or former stepdad COVID. Gave us all, the whole house COVID. I was around there with them. Well, by virtue of it, everything that I came in contact with got COVID. But we all recovered from COVID. And my stepdad was in the final stages of congestive heart failure. COVID some people say COVID, some people alluded to the fact that COVID had something to do with it. No, baby, he knew he was on his way out of here. And that's why he was so persistent with me to get, find the RV. And I don't think a lot of people knew those behind the scene conversations. They just went to accusations saying, oh, we gave him COVID. That's what took him out. But it wasn't true. That's not how he passed. He was in the last stage of congestive heart failure, which I have been screaming for years. Come check on your daddy. Even when this man, let me tell y'all something. This man, my stepdad, he went into AFib one day. Got into the hospital just in time because he was literally on his blood pressure was 66 over 56, bottom out. Heart rate 35 beats. And I was like, yo, if I don't get you somewhere, you're not going to be here. I got him to the emergency room just in time. When I got him there, he went in atrial fibrillation. Once again, my mother called his daughter. He stayed in AFib for 9 hours. For 9 hours, your heart is going through the pressure of threatening between a heart attack and a stroke. She tells her, I'm coming, but I'm going to come after I finish watching the game at my friend's house. That daughter you see on the screen right there. So she shows up and she's drunk, inebriated, intoxicated. Yeah, she's drunk. Yeah, I know what trash face is. She was at. She was real messed up. She got there. She was just out of it. She had been sipping on a lot, and it was not a wine cooler. She got on and put on her shoulder, oh, man, just acting all out. Like, why don't nobody brought you to this freaking hospital? I hate this freaking hospital. I was like, you know what? I'm not doing this with you today. I'm not doing this. Take me. I'm getting ready to go home because this clown show you got going on. I'm not doing this because when we called you, you never show up. All right. And that AFib happened before we left the house. The story time even about that was that my mom's birthday was planned and she had to end up getting 2 stents put in her heart. It wasn't supposed to be left alone. We went to Lake City, Florida, which is 30 minutes away from here, right? Sat down at a restaurant called Country Town. It's one in Valdosta, one I think in one in Lake City that I know of. We sat down there, had enough food to chat with our family members that came in from out of town, out of state to eat with us, and people came to celebrate my mom's birthday. We couldn't cancel it. It was just up on the heels of it. Everybody took off time for work and all that stuff. They were supposed to come here. She was supposed to come here and be here with her dad till we got back. Yeah, right. We turned around, left Lake City, got back home. He was here by himself. That daughter you see on the screen left her dad, abandoned her father here after he had been home from having 2 stents put in his heart. I tell y'all, the truth is sometimes so painful that people don't like the truth, but they rather run around and tell lies about the facts of what they don't have. The other thing is this. Fast forward. Her dad gets COVID, and I kept telling my mom, I kept begging my mom, please tell Terrell to come check on her dad. Please tell Terrell to come check on her dad. And finally, she wouldn't come. Oh, I'll be there Sunday. He called for me to come take him to the bathroom, y'all. I got ready to take him to the bathroom. He couldn't find the floor. He fell back on me. I had to pick him up. You're talking about somebody with a bulge in their spine, a tear in their back, lifting a 70-something-year-old man, toting him to the bathroom like a child, placing him on the toilet. Then I had to tell him, I don't have the medical capabilities here to help you or help save your life. I got to get you some help beyond me. Now, all my medical training as a nurse, that was out the window. I hadn't done nursing God knows how long. And at this point, I'm just doing regular stuff. I sent him to the hospital, which, checking his vitals and all this stuff, I knew what I was looking at. And I told my mom, I gave her a fair warning, a heads up. And I told her, I said, there's a strong possibility that your husband will not be coming back home. He had a little bit of water and he had a spoonful of food to eat. That's what his meds was, not enough. But he wouldn't eat nothing. He wouldn't drink nothing. I said, okay. I went to go see him at the hospital. And when I went to go see him in the hospital, I woke him up. I was like, man, Joker, you wake up and I was like, you sleep. He was like, no, I'm not sleeping. I'm up. And I told him, I said to him, I said, I bet you thought I wasn't coming. He said, no. He said, I've been waiting on you. He said, I've been looking for you. And I said, okay. I said, what's going on? He told me, he said, I can't come back there. And I was like, huh? So he said, I can't come back there. And I looked again and I kind of thought about it. I was like, what are you saying to me? And this is when he kind of looked at me and said, oh, shoot. Like, kind of gave that look like, oh, he knows. And I did know. And he said, he cleaned it up. He said, I can't come back there. It's too small. Your mama have the heat on. He just came with a whole bunch of excuses. He's like, we got to find something bigger, find something normal. I was like, but yeah, you just said you can't come back there. So we left from there. He left from the hospital and he ended up going to the rehab because he had lost his ability to walk. Now, anybody know what congestive heart failure, you start losing your ability to walk. That is one of the last signs of congestive heart failure. So he gets to rehab. Now, I'm telling you, before this man went to the hospital, he felt like a block of ice. Like his body felt like it was Antarctic ice, like he was freezing cold. I was like, why are you so cold? And he was like, those are blood thinners. And no. Blood thinners don't make your body just be cold like this. This is another type of cold. So he ended up going to the rehab, and his daughter had the unmitigated gall. See, this is why you don't tell your cousins who are cousins with my mom and myself what your plans were. You literally walked around the rehab, going there every day with quitclaim deeds in your purse and that little bag that you had, trying to take the property not only from me and my mom, but trying to take the property from your sisters and your brothers. Yeah. You had quitclaim deeds for your dad to sign the deed of the property over to deed everything to you, that they don't get nothing. Yeah. The other thing too is that we went to go see him on a Friday to let him know that they were saying that he was coming home that Monday. We go see him that Friday, and my mom was like, you know you coming home. They said you was coming home. He's like, no, ain't nobody tell me I was coming home. She was like, yeah, you coming home. He was like, no, ain't nobody tell me that. He said, nobody told me that. And so I was like, yeah, they said that you're going to be released. And I touched his legs. And his legs felt like a block of ice. And they were swollen. He had a real bad edema in his legs. His legs was really swollen. But here's the kicker, though. Every time we went to go see him in the nursing home, he was clean. But when we would leave, I remember Terrell called us on the phone. Was like, was Daddy dirty when y'all left? When y'all came over here? Well, he wasn't. Actually, he was clean. And but what he was doing was, see, the irony of her fathoing was that they gave him, and I talked about this with my cousin, and she was like, no, what it was they gave him bad behavior while he was living. So he gave them a mess to clean up. So because of how he was treated by them, he intentionally wastes stuff on his clothes to make her clean it up. My mom offered to bathe him and clean him. He's like, no, make her do it. She gonna do it. Okay. He did it intentionally to make her suffer because of how she had treated him. This man was so vindictive, and he got her back. He got her back the best way he can get her back, and see it with his own eyes before he left this earth, and to enjoy it. He did it on purpose. Because it didn't make sense to me. It's like, why? Wait a minute, we just left him. Why is he dirty? Why is this? But then it dawned on me, this man is doing this to get back at her. So he passes, and everybody's world is thrown into turmoil and a mixture. Now, I'm gonna say this. My stepdad had already said that he wanted his son to be responsible for his service, right? Because he knew that his daughters was not going to do right. The embarrassing part of this was to have the daughters, Nikki and Terrell, to get death certificates, and I think she got quite a bit of death certificates. And they asked me, do you need a death certificate for what? I'm not a vulture. But I'm not here. I wasn't in this man's life, since I was 8 years old to collect a death certificate off of him, off of what he's done for me as a kid. No, that's foul. So the other thing is that when it came time to plan the funeral and get everything done, these girls agreed to doing paying for the write-up in the paper. Now me and my brother helping my mom with the spray, with all of the other stuff, and Nikki had the audacity to ask me if me and Nayron could pay for the spray because they had been taking snacks out there to the nursing home for the dad. First of all, when the tree fell on the house and they were here to help do the cleanup, Nikki sat on her behind and did nothing. Yeah, she didn't lift a stick or stone or nothing. But I guess that's what happened when it's not your real dad. You just kind of don't give a piss what happens to anybody. So Terrell decides to fast forward to back to the funeral plan. So I said I wanted to close the barrier because Fred, my brother, wasn't going to be he wasn't going to be able to do it. So he said, yes, you can seal the barrier. Now, if y'all don't know what seal the barrier is, look it up. I don't have time to teach you all that. So when I said that, they was like, what's that? What's that? What's seal the barrier? I was like, that's to put him to bed, to kind of close, do the final things, So their response was, well, why you didn't ask us? Because you're not paying for anything. You're not paying a dime for nothing. And it would have been the son's job to do it, not yours. And so they was like, well, we want to do it too. So fast forward to the funeral. It's time to close the barrier. We're up there closing the barrier. They all falling all over the casket, just falling all over, acting all stupid. But what you falling over for? Because you ain't been here. I can count on my hand the number of times you've been here. Our neighbors can count on the times they seen you. My niece and nephews can count on the times they see you. Nobody's seen you here. And Nikita was raised here. My niece was raised here. My nephews were raised here. You know how many times I count on my hand and never seen y'all? They ain't never see y'all. What, Christmas and Thanksgiving? Or Christmas every now and again, a birthday at church? Nobody never seen y'all. And Terrell was disrespectful anyway. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, I've never had an issue with her, but I've never wanted to be around her. Something always about that girl was just off with me. And I'll tell y'all about that in a few minutes. So, all right, we close the barrier. So we go and do the stuff, go to the graveyard and stuff like that. We come back and we start, the funeral home started doing the flowers, right? These chicks done got out their car, they pulling flowers left and right like they paid for anything. I was like, hold on, what's going on? And so my godmother was like, Phoebe, you gonna let them get the flowers? And my mom was like, let them have them. That's what I was like, no, we're not doing this. You're not finna be disrespectful. So I went up there. And Skeeter was like, this is wrong. I was like, yeah, but I'm finna stop this. And I was like, if any flower in here come from the church, don't you put your hand on it. Leave it. We just want the flowers that our job sent. Get them and go. At this point, get them and go. Get them and go. But don't you touch not a flower that come from. In other words, these flowers should be distributed by the wife and the one that paid for the service. Y'all just pillaging vultures. Then this girl had the audacity that Nikki asked me, did her daddy leave anything for them? Yeah. Nothing. You lost it all when you refused to let this man come stay at your house when he lost everything he had. When you told this man to downsize his house and throw their stuff away, you lost it all. That's why he left you nothing. Right? He left you nothing. So fast forward, my stepdad's deceased. The first year of taxes, I paid property taxes. No, my mom paid property taxes out of her own money, right? Okay. That second year, I told my mom, I said, this is not a loan. This is not a gift. I said, this is a loan. I said, I want my money back for the taxes, the trees. I want my money back for The sewage, I want money back for everything that I put out. I want it back, because this is not a gift. I'm not giving y'all nothing. This is my money that I had, that I'm to use, right? I was in a car accident 3 years ago, so I was set back. And so the money that I had was for my money for me to have. So, and that money was supposed to go with other money so that we can get another home put up here, right? So it came time for them. So I paid the property taxes. I want money back. So I want all my money back, And so I, when it came time to try to do the property through probate, they wouldn't sign over. They wouldn't sign the property over. That's Nikki, Niecy, and Terrell. Niecy had already said, well, Mama, I'm going to sign the property over. Ain't got no problems. Fred signed his part over. LaShonda signed her part over. They don't want nothing to do with it. Nikki, Niecy, Terrell. Now, you only got a little corner. You ain't got the whole thing. You just got a little piece of property. You can't do nothing with it. So, the crazy part about it is you got 5 acres that you could do anything with. This 5 of y'all, an acre apiece. And y'all don't want to sign over. And so I started thinking about how Terrell called my mom lazy. She never worked nowhere. She never did nothing. But it was, in fact, my mom's money that paid for the material and stuff for her wedding dress. See, my mom took our money, me and my brother's money, and to make sure and did more for them than she did for her own kids with our own money. Even when it came to Nikki and her wedding. And we're not even going to get in the fact that how Terrell marriage, in my opinion, should have been, I don't know, that I ain't going to get into that because you're messing about a marriage. But I'm going to say this. She's what I know from the wife of the guy that she was sleeping with, Terrell. His dude name was Mickey. She was messing with a married man, living with him, and this is allegedly, from what the wife told me. I know her name, and I know the daughter. That Terrell went to a voodoo worker and had roots put on her. And what happened is it messed up their. They messed up their child. And we could talk about how Nikki took that money that she was talking about, that is our hard-earned money, how she did a fundraiser at her job that she don't know we know she did. Yeah, and she kept the other half of the money and went on a vacation with her husband to Daytona Beach, Florida, and bought them matching outfits like they was in high school. Yeah. And then I didn't think Niecy would actually follow suit with this foolishness, because when Niecy tried to commit suicide years ago, it was my mom that saved her life. So I'm a bit confused as to why Terrell was so vindictive. Nikki is so vindictive. Niecy now on the vindictive train with them. Would all collude together for somebody who did more for y'all than she did for her own kids. You thought that was your dad's money. Your dad didn't have a job to be the one. My mom paid property taxes out there in the country, here, and around her own property. And she made sure that the bills were paid here. Your dad had work clothes and all that stuff. Yeah. I think what it is that y'all look at my mom and y'all was like, oh, she never did nothing. My mom came with money, baby. Listen, when my mom married your dad, she had her own money. She had her own money. My mom was set. She had her own money. Then not only that, she had a lawsuit on top of that. She had all this money just sitting in her bank account. Then when my grandma died, that was all that money. All old money. Our family old money. They were sitting there. But let me tell you a story about that money. She had all that money, but the sad part about it is that somebody was going to the bank, your dad, that you don't know, was going to the bank taking all that money. And he was taking all that money, and we found the statements, $10,000 and $20,000 here and there. The bank actually called my mom, was like, hey, there's a gentleman coming to take a lot of money out of your account. Later, I found these, after my stepdad died, in his briefcases, because I was going through all the paperwork trying to make sure everything was in order. And so later, I found these little slips of paper, little notepad sheets where he wrote down, tires for Nikki, rent for Terrell, and down payment for this for Nikki, and this for Niecy. I mean, he kept notes of what he did with my mom's money. And he kept notes so detailed as to what he did with my mom's money, until it was just crazy how he did that. But the sad part about this is that you put your mouth on my mom, and then you guys take vacations knowing full well that you have not paid property taxes, you have not maintained the permits for you have not maintained your permit status with the city or with the county. As a matter of fact, your house is a public nuisance. There's a lot of issues that you don't know of that I tried, and I'm gonna say this, I tried to reach out to them. They ignored the text message. So I added the next text message with my brother Fred in it, right? So as I added him to the text message, he was the only one responding. He called me, and I told him what my lawyer told me to do and what he advised me to do. I was trying to send them the demand letter to their job, not just to the email, but my lawyer took it out of my hands. So they think it's some kind of joke, some kind of game or whatever, but the worst case scenario is this, and that is you're going to be sued, and there's nothing that I can do about it, because I tried to ask you nicely, but when my legal counsel no longer wants to negotiate with terrorists, he don't want to negotiate with you. And out of all that stuff, you see them going on vacation, you see them doing this and this, and just playing in your face. Dude, you have property taxes. You have responsibilities. This is your stuff. This is not mine. And it's like y'all looking like you ain't got to pay nobody their money back. Y'all are freeloaders. So I'm not going to put a lien on your property. I can do a lot of stuff. But it's like, for one moment, I had so many thoughts come to mind that stuff that I just wanted to do to these girls. I did. And I'm going to be honest about it. I did. I had so many thoughts come to mind that I wanted to do. It's because I know it wasn't Niecy directly, but I know it had to be Nikki and Terrell. It was so many thoughts came to my mind that I really wanted to do to them. When I tell you I really wanted to do them some harm, and I took some moments to really just sit back and just kind of like, God, you got to fight for me, because I don't hate them, but I want to snap them both in two pieces. I really want to make them suffer, like really want to make them feel the pain that they've ensued on my mother, the financial burden that they just keep letting people carry for themselves, just freeloading. And it's like, well, I don't understand that. You think this is cool, but what happens when people come for blood? What happens when you find out that this is not a game, this is real life? And they don't understand that. They don't care. So I explained to my mom, I was like, listen, I'm gonna do a video. I did one before, and I'm pretty sure somebody manipulated it before, but no, I'm gonna make sure it's not manipulated this time. And I'm pretty sure someone's like, I hope are you gonna take that? No, I'm not taking it down. I'm not taking the video down, because what I feel is that you play dirty, you play nasty, and there's no winning with that. And the truth will always prevail. And because the truth will always prevail, I'm going to always tell the truth. You may not like it, but I'm going to tell the truth. Your dad needed you and you didn't come. Terrell, your dad needed you and you failed him. Nikki, this man raised you as his own, and you didn't open a back door or porch to him. Neither one of you did. You gave your dad nothing but y'all behind the kiss. And everything that y'all are dealing with now to make y'all be bitter towards me and my mom or whoever else, or nasty towards people, not want to pay your property taxes, which is stupid, because if you don't pay your property taxes, it falls into our hands anyway. Are you crazy? Not paying me back my money that you owe me for taking care of your responsibilities only allows me to put liens on your stuff and bind you up in court where you can't do nothing. The sad part about it is that you're drunk, and several men have said, I'm gonna say allegedly, that Terrell is easy, that they can pick up a phone and call her and she'll stop what she's doing right now and walk away from the dude she with. I'm telling you what I know, and I'm not doing this to be foul. I'm just telling the truth. I'm tired of people hiding behind dirty people and evil people and stuff like that. I don't care if they're your family. I've had, me and my brother have had drawn out, long, blow for blow, word for word conversations, and he know my disdain for his behavior and absence with my mom. He'll tell you that. He know how I feel about it. He know how I feel about it. He know I've expressed it verbally, openly, publicly, and I'm not afraid to tell it. I remember the day that I was so angry with my brother, I called him a piss poor excuse of a son. So before people think this is a hit job at them, it's not. I am for right, and this is dead wrong. But I promise you that it's not even about retribution, and it's about more than anything. Give me back my money. Just pay me my money back, and let that be done with it. Pay me all my money back, because what the Lord gonna do to you, because your daddy already done cursed you, what the Lord gonna do to you is gonna be like, whew, boy, it's gonna be bad. But for those that, I know, because somebody gonna go back and tell them I did a video. They're gonna go back and report it, because that's what y'all do. Y'all gonna be like, oh, we gonna tell them. I gotta tell them you did it. Yeah. But I want you to remember this while you're telling them that I said this. Until you do right by me, everything you touch will gonna burn up in flames. Everything you think to create, to build, to do, is gonna burn up in flames. It is. You may not see it right now, but I promise you, until you do right, you're gonna see it. Stuff gonna slowly start crumbling in front of your face. You don't do evil and think you're gonna get away with it, because as bad as you think that you can walk around and do anything to people and get away with it, when God gets through with you, you're gonna wish you knew what right was. And that's all I'm gonna say. Y'all have a good evening. This is My Truth, guys, and welcome back to another episode of Couch Chronicles. Good night.